So, a little bit of context before we get started. In 1945, the Allied powers of the world banded together for one last time attacking Germany, called the Battle of Berlin. Once Hitler knew he was going to lose, he was like, "Nah guys, I'm out of here." And he killed himself, but not with a gun, but actually with a cyanide pill. Then, about 2 months later, the Allied forces attended a meeting in Potsdam, Germany, to discuss its fate. So, they decided to divide Germany into 4 occupied zones, one for each of the Allies. They also did this with Berlin, the capital. Because of rising tensions in the East and West, this led to deteriorating economic conditions in Germany, causing the Soviets withdrawing from their governing agreement. Then, in 1984, the Soviets blockaded the west half of Berlin, cutting it off from all outside supplies. In an attempt to save the people in West Berlin, the Allies flew supplies and food to support the citizens living in West Berlin. So that lasted for about 10 months, and then in 1952, the city of West Berlin was officially sealed off from the remainder of East Germany, although people could still move between East and West Berlin. When conditions worsened and Soviet rule became more oppressive, this led to a massive exodus between East and West Berlin. Over 2 million people fled the Soviet-controlled Berlin city between 1949 and 1961. This then led to the government making plans to close the border. So, beginning on Sunday, August 13th, 1961, the East German government began construction on the Berlin Wall, dividing Berlin in half. The initial barrier was only temporary by creating barbed wire fences, blocking rails and subway lines, and stationing troops along the border. While this was taking place, the government was constructing a more permanent, secure wall to divide the East and West. During the years of the wall's construction, many people tried to escape over the barbed wire fences by either using a ladder, a rope, or even cutting through the fence, which led to a large restriction on selling any kind of twine string or wire cutters. Later, these fences were replaced with concrete walls, guard towers that shot without warning, electrical fences, guard dogs, vehicle traps, and even landmines. This is the Berlin Wall that most people know. In the following years after the construction, the West German economy had recovered and became a world economic power, while the East German economy was greatly hindered under the Soviets' control. Seeking a better life in the West, East Germans devised many escape plans. The most common escapes were burrowing tunnels underneath the wall from a building, and once even from a cemetery. Another would be jumping out of a tall building and trying to land on the other side of the wall. And most creatively, creating a hot air balloon by buying small pieces of light cloth and sewing them together. And on 1979, that family escaped to freedom in West Germany. So, thus the wall was created. It was a symbol of communist tyranny and the Cold War. It was a visual reminder of the ongoing conflicts between communism and capitalism, East and West. What could people do about this? Not much, really. They could protest, which would probably get them killed. They could try and escape, which, oh yeah, it would probably get them killed too. So, they had to live with it. Nobody really talked about it because it was just so depressive, and everyone wished for it to be different. Till that day came. President Ronald Reagan delivered a challenge to Mikhail Gorbachev, the new head of the Soviet Union, in 1987. President Reagan, in a speech, said,
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
This sparked a massive chain reaction. In 1989, 2 years later, facing a growing domestic unrest, the East German party leader resigned, and Hungary opened its borders with Austria, causing East Germans to follow a route from East Germany to Hungary to Austria and back into West Germany, thus making the Berlin Wall less relevant. Then, following an announcement that travel restrictions between East and West Germany would be loosened, Massive crowds started to gather around the wall and began chipping away sections, thus tearing it down. By 1990, East and West Germany were finally reunited, and only small sections acting as memorials remain as the Berlin Wall today.